everyone. You've got Rich Robledo, Director of MLS, with Steve K. We are lucky this morning to have Jason Sanchez with us, the Director of MLS Engagement for National Association of Realtors. Last week, we all received an email about listing attribution, which was something that was passed last fall by NAR. So we decided to have Jason come on board and talk to us a little bit about what some of these changes are and what some of the frequently asked questions are. Jason?
Hi, Rich, and hi, Stephen. Really
Hello.
appreciate you inviting me, and sure, I'm welcome to talk to you about a little bit about listing attribution. It's the rule that came about back in 2021. We had passed a rule, a little bit of background on it. Had some discussion about this back in November at the annual meetings that year. And, we had talked about making some changes to listing attribution. Some of the debate behind it was, there was some debate about adding a listing agent, an email and a phone number. So we went ahead and, some of it was, just let's take out the listing agent. Some of that debate centered around just including the listing participant. So what had passed during the MLS committee meeting was an MLS participant. IDX display must identify the listing firm and the listing participant identified email or phone number in a reasonable prominent location and in a readily visible color and typeface, not smaller than the medium used in the display of listing data.
Now, well, Jason, you're saying that, first off, thanks a lot for coming in, because I know you're a busy person, right? And I really appreciate the knowledge that you kind of bring on into this topic here. The listing participant, would that be all of the realtors that have the listings?
No, that would be the actual principal broker, the participant.
Okay, broker. It would be the broker. Okay, great. So then all the listing participants would be the actual broker. So whoever you hang your license with.
Correct.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so that was really the statement that was passed. Now, some of the debate around that was, it continued to be discussed during the executive committee. So that actual language was changed during the discussion during the executive committee. So instead of identifying the email and the phone number from the participant, they changed that to provided by the listing participant. Okay, so that was a real key. I know that had been discussed months later, and people had talked about how that came about. So that was a discussion during the executive committee. So,
well, Jason, that's an interesting. That actually changes things greatly, right? So it's right. Instead of required, it's provided by. So does that? Right. What does that allow the broker to do then?
So what that allows the broker to do is to choose which, contact information that they want to place on a listing, so, and basically the rationale behind that is to provide more accurate representation to the public, because what we had been hearing, from various people that had been, talking about this and had reported that once, they would get these, inquiries and they would talk about it and, they would try to contact the person in the listing, and they weren't able to contact anybody. They weren't able to get a hold of anybody. So that basically now puts it on the participant to decide what contact information, if it's theirs or if it's one of their listing agent or just a good contact, provided they're either an email or a phone number.
Yeah, so it sounds like they really wanted the public to be able to get to the right person to be able to answer questions. I mean, because right. Yeah, if I'm a big broker, I don't want my number on every listing that we have. If we have 100 agents, You may want to go directly to those agents that have those listings, so you get the right information out to everybody. That's like something that was really well thought out by the upper management.
Yeah, it was vetted quite a bit. Yeah.
So
Nice.
Jason, this was supposed to start March 1st, right? However,
Right.
you guys extended it locally for the deadline to September 1st. Was this just from the conversation at the NAR level, or what was,
Right.
because this has been a heated topic. I know I was at the NAR conference last fall in San Diego, and this was a very heated conversation in that conference. So it was supposed to have been adopted March 1st, and then it was extended to September 1st. Do you see any other changes coming on with the attribution verbiage before the end of the year?
No. And really, like I, just had talked about, really the reasons behind that was because, there was so much discussion around, what to keep and, how to actually, formulate and articulate this rule. And there was also several different policy changes that were made then. There was, I believe, 8, and there was a set of best practices too as well that passed. So being that there were so many, the advisory board actually met, that's the MLS Technology and Emerging Issues Advisory Board, met in January after those meetings, and looked at everything and decided to extend 2 different policies, which was this one, the listing broker attribution, and the one data source. And it's really the rationale behind that was, to give MLS's vendors and brokers extra time to prepare, make the necessary adjustments, mainly on their platforms, websites, and software. So that was really the intent behind it, is to make sure that they had enough time, technically to make those changes.
Okay. Yeah. And one of my other questions would be, how does this look in real life, right? So if I am an agent that has a website advertising in my area that's populated by the IDX, right? If I have listings populated by the IDX on my website, will that all have the contact information that the participant or the broker has decided to put on there for their listing?
Yes, it will. I mean, so going back, the original listing broker attribution has always, had the listing participant. So it always says listing provided by, so if you look at a listing, prior to this, it'll say a listing provided by ABC Brokerage or ABC Realty. Now, what it's going to include is either the email or the phone number that the listing participant has decided to put on that listing.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's just populated through every realtor's website that is populated by the IDX.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
I've got a question. Is this mandatory requirement when displaying properties under the VOW rules, Jason?
No, per VOW, what they had discussed in the advisory board and also the MLS committee was to leave that optional. And that is something that is at the discretion of the MLS. So it's not something that's mandatory like IDX. If the MLS wants to go ahead and, adopt the same type of rule for IDX, they can.
Yeah, this has been something that's been in the last couple of years from being involved with the MLS. One of the biggest benefits of being in committees and on the board is learning so much as to what's happening, because all of this happened last year and it's been coming along for the last couple of years, which I find powerful. I really appreciate your time this morning. Do you have any other questions, Steve?
No, I think that he answered all of them pretty well. I think I have a better. I think we gave the audience a better understanding of what's coming.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have this podcast to send out because of that email we sent out. We're starting to get questions from brokers asking what are the changes. So I really appreciate you spending some time with us this morning, Jason. And do you
Sure.
have any nugget of excellence for your goodbye for us?
Sure. I just wanted to, I know I had talked a little bit about our engagement as far as the time that we allow for the community to, ideally vendors and MLS providers and stuff, to give them more time. We actually have had ongoing meetings with the major MLS vendors. In the last few months, we've even talked to major IDX vendors too as well, in months leading up to this. And, it's been very positive as far as our interaction with them. They're very appreciative of the feedback that we've given them and helped them out, when it comes to these changes. Because this doesn't mean that it could be the first or the last. So, we just want to make sure that our vendors are taken care of too as well. So.
Perfect. Thank you for this morning. And if Steve doesn't have any other questions.
Nope, I don't have any other questions, but I do want to say, if you want a realtor mug, I love my realtor mug because I love coffee cups in general. Head to the association and grab a realtor mug. Makes my morning better.
Thank you for
love
that
that.
plug for the office. Thank you, Jason. You guys have a great day.
Okay.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.